something that I don't think a lot of people think about, and that is when planning their life, whether it's going to school or having a family or taking a specific job. Well, I think what people focus on is, let's say, the money of the job, or maybe the type of school that they're going to. They focus on that. But I think people should more think about what is their ideal day? What do they want their ideal day to be like? And work backwards from that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Yeah, because like we don't want children, and we knew that, but we wanted this life, sort of being able to travel around. So we don't have kids. We also don't have pets. And pets are great, kids are great, but they didn't fit into that ideal life that we were looking to have.
Hello and welcome to the Disrupt the Everyday podcast. We're here to help you navigate life while disrupting the status quo. Our discussions cover a number of topics relevant to everyday life. We discuss everything from relationships to entrepreneurship. We also engage in some difficult but important conversations. And now, here are your hosts, Brian and Tanya Hamilton.
Welcome to the Disrupt the Everyday podcast. Today we have the pleasure of being joined by Ian and Amy Anderson. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. This is great.
We always like to start off by getting to know who we're speaking with today. So we'll give you a chance to introduce yourselves by asking, who are Ian and Amy Anderson?
I am 37 years old and actually a college dropout. And the last time I had a traditional job was about 12 years ago. I hated my job. It stressed me out every day. And my husband was just got it started in the web design business, and he fortunately taught me everything he knew. And then over the last 12 years, we have created a successful web design company and structured it in a way where we were able to do it not only remotely, but location independent, where we don't have to worry about time zones. And for the last year and a half, we've been traveling the world.
I want to also mention I'm a college dropout too. She didn't say that, but I am.
He's not. We have a debate over this.
We take pride in that fact. So that's why I want to throw that in there.
He has an associate's degree. He's not a college dropout.
I went for my bachelor's degree, and then I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. So I dropped out, and they were like, well, you have enough credits for an associate's degree. Do you want one? I was like, sure. So,
Hey, you pay for it, right?
Yeah. So that's why I call myself a dropout too. But that's a source of pride for us for what we've been able to accomplish so far.
For sure. No, I totally got where you're coming from.
Yeah.
There you go.
Awesome. Now, I wanted to do a deeper dive into the whole travel element you mentioned. So obviously you talk about being location independent, being able to run your business remotely. I guess let's start there and kind of talk about that a little bit more, and then we'll talk about the whole travel piece, because it's all very intriguing.
Okay.
Well, so like she had talked about in the intro, I've been creating websites for many, many years. Since the late 90s, I started in web design. And then her and I started dating in 2001. And then she had, we both had a string of jobs like everybody does. But she had many jobs that she didn't like. And I was always able to work from home. And she was always very jealous. I remember her calling me many times, literally from the bathroom of her office where she was working, crying that she hated her job so much. And so I taught her exactly what I was doing. And so now that we both knew that, we started our own web design business.
And at that point, we were actually still in Massachusetts,
Correct.
Which is where we were both born and raised. And then once we were both, doing the same thing and started our web design company, that was when we realized we had the ability to work remote. And this is going back to the end of 2010, going into 2011. Yeah. We hate the cold. We don't like snow. Yeah. We're like, Massachusetts gets so cold in the wintertime. We're like, we can do this from anywhere. And that kind of started to plant the seed of, why don't we go somewhere else? And that's how we ended up in Florida.
Yeah.
So we moved to Florida we moved to Fort Myers in 2011. Yeah. We did go back to Massachusetts for like a year because it was kind of one of those we miss our family. Like, are we sure we want to do this? And after another year in Massachusetts, we're like, we're done. We don't want to be cold. And we have lived in Florida since 2013.
Right. Now we live everywhere, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it started, it was really right before the pandemic hit. We started to realize that, we had worked remotely for so long. We have the same clients. We don't work a set schedule. We're never we're available 9 to 5. It's more, you send me your project and we will have it completed within X amount of time. So all of our projects are deadline based. So it was at the end of 2019, we started going, why don't we want to travel? We love traveling. Why don't we, take this on the road? Because, we can do this in a way where it doesn't matter what time zone that we're in. And then right when we decided to go, let's do this, COVID hit, and then we got sidelined until July 2020. And then when the world started to reopen a little bit, we just decided to go for it.
Yeah. And I was going to say one tip that we should actually throw in there, and this is useful for anyone that kind of wants to follow on the same path. We didn't start a regular web design business where we get clients and we meet the end clients and all that. We don't do that. And we did it on purpose because we didn't want to have to physically sit there and go to clients' offices and talk with them. So why our business is different is we actually team up with marketing companies around the United States that don't offer web design. And we become that part of their business. So if you can so let's say you're doing something, whatever that something is, but if you can find another company and fit into their business, they'll send you work because they're making money off you too. Mm-hmm. That'll give you the freedom to not have to always find that end client. So work just comes to us. We don't have to find work.
Yeah, because it's the marketing company that they're having the meetings, they're having the phone calls with all of their clients, and then we just get the project information sent to us.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So I have to ask more about the personal life. Who was the one who really came up with this idea to travel?
Ooh, travel. I'd say travel was joint. How I got into web design was all because he happened to be into it, and I liked his ability to work from home. I think you came up with the idea of going after marketing companies.
I think so too.
But travel, I would say, was joint because we both really like traveling.
Because when we were doing our business, working our business at our home in Florida, and we never meet our clients, never. And so we were like, why are we just sitting here doing this when it's a big, huge world, so many things to see, and it doesn't matter where we are. And that all kind of just unfolded into what we do now.
So you've been doing this for more than a year now, close to a year and a half. Where have you been? Where have you worked from so far?
So when we first left, it was August 2020. So we started off in Aruba because there was not many places you could go to at that time during COVID, especially as US citizens. So we spent the first 3 months in Aruba. And the last month we were there, we really wanted to get to Europe. Croatia was open. So that was when we left Aruba, we went to Split, Croatia. We spent about a month there, just over a month. But at that point, that opened up the path to Italy, where you could not go. Most United States citizens couldn't go if you were coming from the United States. But Italy at that time, there were certain countries, if you could prove that you had been staying in for at least 2 weeks, they would let you in. So Croatia was one of those countries. So we went to Split, Croatia, and then we went to Rome, Italy for almost 3 months. And then from there, we went to Budva, Montenegro. And then in May, we went to Greece. We were in Athens for 3 months. And now we're in Dubrovnik.
And in a little over 2 weeks, we're going to be flying to Panama.
Yeah. We're going to spend the next 3 months in.
Yeah, because Europe is too cold in the wintertime.
Yeah.
We learned that the hard way. So we're bailing. We're going to Panama. Then from there, we'll probably go to Argentina or.
Yeah, the plan for the next year is
like
more Central and South America.
Yeah, avoid the cold at all costs.
Well, out of all those names on your list, or all the countries on your list, I've been to Panama. I did a mission trip when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. I cannot wait to see it.
Mm-hmm. It was really nice.
Where did you go in Panama?
You know what? I was trying to remember when. I know that we did go to actually like a jungle, and we were working with like some people that were in a tribe out there actually, but then we stayed in Panama City for the most part.
Nice. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it's actually we're staying very close to Panama City, right on the other side of the canal. We get to play 3 months.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Now, are you multilingual, or have you just kind of been finding your way around as you go to countries?
Yeah, no, thankfully, and I didn't know this, but thankfully, the majority of the people we come in contact with speak English in all the countries we go to. And it's like English is this sort of bridge language to bring people, because, where we are, it's a very touristy area. So there's people that are, let's say, from Germany and speak German, but they also speak English. And the people here speak Croatian and they also speak English. So they use English as a way to communicate with each other because there's so many languages around this park. So it's awesome that we know English.
For me, I know you guys talk about the fact that you've done this and you've actually saved some money while you've done this, right? Maybe on a budget. So maybe not everybody can travel, get up and pack and all that kind of stuff and not come back for over a year. But for somebody who would like to do this, maybe even short time, can you give us some suggestions on how they could do a trip that would also save them some money?
Well, this is the negotiator right here. So
I've been very successful at negotiating Airbnbs, and I actually created a course on how to do that. But number one, if you're going to stay at any place for any significant amount of time, I would always recommend an Airbnb as opposed to a hotel, because a hotel's not going to have a kitchen.
Right.
So you're going to have to eat all your meals out. It's going to be very expensive. That's why we stay at Airbnbs. One immediate tip I would give, number one, people don't even know that you can negotiate Airbnbs. Mm-hmm. That is the thing, and most people don't even know that. But assuming that you do know that, when you go to Airbnb's homepage, it says like, where do you want to go? So you type Rome or Paris or wherever. And then it says, enter your date that you're going to check in. So do that. But the next field is your checkout date. Let's say that you're only going to stay there for a week. Don't just put just a week. Go out a lot longer than you actually need. So for example, if you're staying for a week, go out a month. If you're staying for 2 weeks, go out 2 months. And then hit the search button. And what that's going to do is it's going to show you results of Airbnbs that don't have any bookings for that time frame. And why that's important, that means that Airbnb host doesn't have any money coming in. So they're going to be a lot more likely to negotiate with you if they don't have any money coming in on the horizon. So that would be the first tip I would give you, is do that and start there. And so just talking about the long-term effects that we've had, because we don't live in our house anymore. If you think about the things that people that live in a house have, they have an electric bill, they have a water bill, they have an internet bill, they have, lawn care. We don't have any of those things. So a lot of our expenses did go down when we started traveling around the world. It's been quite amazing.
And you said earlier that you rent your home out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing that we had to do, was get the home rented, because we didn't want to pay our mortgage if we weren't going to be there, because that's kind of. So yeah, we worked with actually the same property manager that sold us, the realtor that sold us our house. He's also a property manager. So we actually had to rent it out within a few days.
And we were actually lucky that our tenant happened to want it furnished.
Yes.
So we did get a small storage unit, but just more for like personal and sentimental things. But like because we weren't sure how that was going to work, but it was nice because we didn't have to
move couches or move beds or anything like that, because he wanted it all. And he actually paid more money for that, which is great. So we're making more money and we didn't have to move all that crap out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm just thinking, people may not be able to do this for years at a time, but even sometimes in the summer, right? People want to get up and go for 2 months and travel. So good information to have.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, was there anything that throughout this whole experience that was kind of surprising that you didn't expect as you were, as you were planning your trips going around the world?
Good question.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Surprising.
It's surprising how little stuff you actually need.
Yeah, that's true.
Because our lives are basically out of 2 suitcases and 2 carry-ons.
Yeah.
Everything we need. And actually, we kind of screwed up at the beginning. Our plan was just to pack cold weather stuff and warm weather stuff. But then we realized we really, really hate the cold. So now we've kind of downsized the cold weather stuff, and now we just have warm weather stuff. But yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of because we can't bring it with us. So, but because our house is in Florida is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's huge, and there's stuff everywhere. We're not hoarders, but there's stuff everywhere. But we do not need the majority of that stuff. The majority of stuff is on the other side of this wall right here in 2 suitcases. That's our whole life of stuff.
It definitely makes you more mindful about what you actually need.
Yeah.
But I'd say other than that, anything else surprised? I mean, obviously, like there's the COVID element where things change by the week, and sometimes right up until we're changing countries, sometimes we don't really know where we're going.
I gotta tell you, people seem happier in this part of the world. Rules are less relaxed. It's less regulated out here. I would say that it's very, very enjoyable. Now, obviously, this isn't a political conversation, but I feel like at least in the United States, like people are just at their throats for a variety of different reasons. And it doesn't feel like that anywhere we've been.
Yeah.
And it's nice.
That part is nice. I'm sure lots of people be like, oh, I wish I could leave right now, right? Like everybody I know down here in Ontario, Canada is just like, oh, I can't wait to travel. I can't wait to travel again, right? And we are getting there and people are able to finally travel. But I mean, it was such a long time where people weren't able to, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's one thing if you don't have the money to do it, but then one positive thing about COVID for us is you save a lot of money, right? Like when you're pretty much stuck in your house for months on end and you can't do any, the social stuff, you save money. So then people had money to spend to go on these trips and they still couldn't go.
Yeah.
So now, that people are finally able to travel if that's what they want. It's just, nice just to get a change of scenery, literally being in a whole different country and just seeing too, like you said, how people are and coping with what is going on in 2020, where they are, right?
Yeah. And it's been really nice to meet people from different cultures.
Yeah.
Like we would never meet someone from Croatia in our house in Tampa.
Right.
But so we're in an Airbnb with, it's not a giant building. It's maybe 4 floors, 3 floors. There's 11 different units here. The Airbnb host is above us and his mother and his father, who are in their 70s, are below us. And his mother actually has made us pies and soup and brings it up here. And we learn Croatian words.
Yeah, we get like a word of the day.
Croatian word of the day when we go outside.
Yeah.
We would never have those experiences if we were just in our house doing our work. And
we also, so Croatia was part of the former Yugoslavia, which Yugoslavia fell in the 90s, and there was a war here. And it's really interesting. So our Airbnb host, he was about 14 or 15 when the war started. And just to hear, somebody who went through that experience firsthand and hear those stories, it's very interesting. And yeah.
And there's so many food that we wouldn't have tried, in Tampa, and so many things we've been able to see. So it's been a fantastic time. And our tenant actually came up, the lease came up for renewal at the beginning of August, and actually renewed for another year. So we're doing this for another year, and at the end of that year, I hope he renews again, because
we're having a lot of fun.
Having a lot of fun. This is a fantastic, this is a fantastic way to live, and there's so many places that I want to see and experience. I think we can do it all. I don't see a reason why we have to go back.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Maybe a little envious in regards to the traveling part, that's for sure. But I love hearing the stories. So
yeah.
Now, also, you've talked about a lot of the positive elements. Was there anything about any of the travel at all that was negative?
Oh God, Rome, COVID. Okay, so here's what happened. We were in Rome over the holiday last year.
Well, actually, and so we just got into Rome with like 3 days to spare because they changed the rules. It was like I think got there December 6th, December 9th, they basically shut down the border. So we had just got in, and we knew that there was going to be certain lockdown days over the holidays, but it got worse when we were there, to the point we call it like you needed a permission slip to like leave the house for essential reasons. So like in Rome, it was categorized into, it was a yellow zone day, an orange zone day, or a red zone day. Red was the worst. Red was basically you were locked inside, could only go to the store, like groceries, or to the pharmacy, but you needed a form. And that's why we call it
a printed form.
Yeah, that's why we call it a permission slip. So if you were stopped by the police, like you had to hand the form over, and it had to have your reason for leaving the house. Well, the Airbnb that we were staying at
didn't have a printer.
Right. So over the holiday, like we had to like plan ahead and stock up. So we were like locked in the house for 4 days, and then I think we were allowed out for like 3, but basically just like walk around, go to the grocery store, and then got locked in for like another 4.
Yeah. So that was crappy, but we got over it. Well, great thing about not having many tourists is we were able to go to all the touristy places and no one was there.
Yeah, the Colosseum was closed for a long time, and right before we left, they finally reopened it. So we got to go to the Colosseum. It was like 20 people.
Yeah,
normally when you look at pictures online, hundreds of people,
Yeah.
and people in line trying to like get their photo. And we really got to go there and just like appreciate it and like take our time and like soak it all in and take pictures. So I would say like that was amazing.
Yeah. So that was the worst part, was being in Rome at that time, but also the best part.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Pros and cons. So You guys are together all the time.
Yes.
What do you do to get a little break from each other since, you know, maybe you don't have your ladies' night or men's night, that kind of stuff?
You know, we've never really had that issue. We've always sort of lived like this.
So I was going to say, we started dating in 2001.
Correct.
By 2002, we had lived together.
Right.
And then we got married in 2009, and probably could count on one hand the number of nights we've spent away from each other.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. But even like during a normal day, we work this close apart with our laptops, and you know, we go to the store together, we do everything together. So
I always say, like, we like don't just love each other, we genuinely like each other.
we enjoy each other's company. So that, and I think you need that if you're going to sort of embark on this lifestyle where it's just going to be you and your significant other. And I mean, so we've met people here and there, but we can't go like hang out at someone else's house. We don't know anyone that closely. But
no, that's good. I was thinking, I'm like, you definitely have to be friends to be doing this one, right? Like, or you could be a couple that may be on the verge and do this trip, and that could bring you back together too.
Yes, I think it would. Well, something would happen. Either you get closer, you hate each other even more. I don't know. Even though we're doing this now, we still have the same relationship from when we were doing this in Tampa, where we work side by side every single day. And I know a lot of people, little couples aren't like that, but it's definitely, if you can get there in your relationship, it's worth it. Where your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend is your best friend and the person you want to do everything with. So I'm very lucky that I have that. You know,
that's great.
Now I want to kind of shift gears and talk about, you know, your work. So websites, obviously something that you've been working with for a lot of years. I know you had a chance to check out our website. You can probably tell it's homegrown. Now, for folks who aren't as techie, you know, how do websites work? What are some of the kind of quick things that you could teach us about websites?
Okay, do you want this one?
Well, I was gonna say, so the first thing, all our websites are WordPress. Everything we do,
we focus on
WordPress. What platform is your website? Is it?
It's Squarespace.
Oh, Squarespace. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, we've never designed.
But just as general comments we can give people: don't add too much stuff. Right? Don't have 50 paragraphs on your homepage. People like visuals. Make sure it looks good on mobile devices, because more and more people are using their phones nowadays.
Right.
Don't have 15 call to actions. You know, get an estimate, call us now, visit our office. Don't do all that. Have one multiple times so people can focus on something. Because if they have too many things on the screen, they're going to get distracted. They're not going to do anything. So keeping things simple, having a few call to actions.
And I was going to say, with a call to action, and this is one thing that we try to say to our clients, you know, it's important to build up like a mailing list, like a newsletter, like a subscription list. You know, don't like, it's so bad. And some of our clients do this, is they're just like, sign up for the latest news. And it's like, people, their inboxes is so bombarded with promos and all of this. It's like, you need to give people a compelling reason to sign up for your newsletter. You know, like give them like whatever it is that you're great at. Like it could be like a downloadable guide. Always have something of value that like to give to somebody in exchange for giving you their information.
Yeah, because there's so many newsletter subscriptions that, and I'm sorry if anyone's listening to this that has it. There's just like, sign up for our newsletter.
Yeah.
And people are like, why? Why would I do that?
Right.
So yeah, give value in exchange for someone's email address if you're trying to build a mailing list.
Yeah.
And how often should people be revamping their websites?
When it doesn't suit you anymore, when it doesn't suit your business. Yeah. I mean, design preferences and visuals change over time, but more than likely your website will stop working for you before what's acceptable as design will change. So that would be my answer. It depends on who you're, because there's some like, Craigslist, what a terribly awfully looking website, but it functions well, right? It's just text, but it works for that, that industry. Yeah, that would be actually going along that road and going along what we do. We're actually, because since we've been doing this, we've been getting a lot of questions, people asking us, how do we do this? How do we run our business? How do we make websites and all that? So we're actually going to be teaching people exactly what we do and how we do it and how we structure our business, and teaching people everything from knowing nothing about web design to basically being to what we can do. We're going to be teaching all that very soon. We actually own a site called Web Designers Academy, where we teach other web designers certain skills. We're going to be revamping it and actually having a training module to basically give people the opportunity to live how we do, because we've been getting so many questions about it. We figured, let's teach people what we do.
Yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
And I think too, sometimes at the beginning when somebody's starting off a business or whatever it is, and everybody says, obviously you need a website, right? That's what makes it legit.
Yeah.
But not everybody has a budget at the beginning
Sure.
for a web designer or something like that until, later when they get in. So something like your course, that sounds like it would be beneficial for people who are starting off, right?
Yeah, definitely. And the main focus of Web Designers Academy is to teach people the skills of how to create a website, but also how to set up a web design business where you can be location independent, like us. So you can do what we're doing. So that's one thing that's going to differentiate what we're doing. Web Designers Academy is not just the technical side, but the business side and how to structure it and how to make this life a reality. We're going to be teaching all of that.
Yeah.
In terms of the websites that we visit, again, just not understanding the inner workings, the kind of how it all is in the back end. I guess, would you say a high percentage of the websites that we would visit that are business related are probably designed on WordPress? Would that be a fair assumption?
Probably. WordPress.
Well, I would say it's definitely the most popular content management system. Yeah. And I want to say the last time I looked, it makes up about a little over a third of all websites on the internet.
Correct. And that's huge. Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, WordPress is, in our opinion, WordPress is definitely the way to go because of the flexibility and the stability and all the plugins you can get. Definitely the way to go if someone's looking to start their own website.
Now you got me thinking. Now, is it difficult to change platforms if you already have a website established?
Yeah, it is. I
wouldn't say depending on how
not
much.
Automatic.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like migrating from one platform to another. Wouldn't be seamless. It would depend on how much content and functionality you have on your existing website. Like a small basic website, it would take some time to bring it over, but it wouldn't be like major surgery.
Yeah, and if someone's thinking about doing that for whatever platform, probably the easiest way to do it would be to copy your content out into, let's say, a Word document or something, so that's safe somewhere else, and then switch your website to the other platform, and then bring your content in that way.
You have Brian's mind going now.
Yeah. Is your website not working for you? Are you not happy?
It's not that I'm not happy, but there's things I think I could do better, but it's for me right now, it's just a lot of work. And it's harder to find tutorials and things like that. Cause I'm all about just finding free stuff. I'll go on YouTube and watch tutorials on how to do things.
Yeah.
But there's, I was finding there was a lot more WordPress, but I just didn't see as much advertising for WordPress. So I have one GoDaddy website and I have a Squarespace website for two different purposes.
Sure.
But just wondering if there's something that's easier and then just carry over my URL.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of, but manually migrating a small site, like I was talking about, copying and pasting your content out, won't take you very long.
But is there anything else that we should hit on that we didn't cover that you want to make sure that we get out in this conversation?
We covered it all. I mean, if someone has the opportunity to sort of live a life like this, I'd highly recommend it. Maybe one thing we can talk about is something that I don't think a lot of people think about, and that is when planning their life, whether it's going to school or having a family or taking a specific job. I think what people focus on is, let's say, the money of the job, or maybe, the type of school that they're going to. They focus on that. But I think people should more think about what is their ideal day? What do they want their ideal day to be like? And work backwards from that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Yeah, because we don't want children, and we knew that, but we wanted this life, sort of being able to travel around. So we don't have kids. We also don't have pets, and pets are great. Kids are great, but they didn't fit into that ideal life that we were looking to have. So no kids, no pets, and then also how we structure our business, which we've already talked about. If we had a regular web design business where we had to go physically meet clients, we wouldn't have been able to do this. But at the beginning, we wanted to have that location independent life. So we structured it that way. But I think it all starts with looking at what you want your ideal life to be and then working backwards from that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm just even thinking with my personal life and what I do now for work. The job I was working at before was not working for my ideal day, right? And then with 4 kids and travel and commute and stuff like that, right? So then you see, yeah, money's great, but at what expense, right?
Yeah.
So it's what you're saying now, doing the job I'm doing now, the flexibility that's there for me to be for my kids, plus still bring in income and still enjoy my job, right? That's everything. So I totally agree with what you say.
Yeah. Like I have a relative who's a very successful doctor, and she works, is it 24-hour shifts?
Oh, she was,
48-hour shifts, something like that, where she has to go and physically be at the hospital for that amount of time. And then when she comes home, she is on call. So if her pager goes off, she has to stop what she's doing. It doesn't matter what she's doing and go to the hospital.
And I was gonna say, there was many times she had to couldn't go to be with family for the holidays because they lived out of state. So it was kind of got tethered to that specific.
Right. Yeah.
Location.
So she makes a lot of money, but I wouldn't want that life. I wouldn't want to be making that kind of money doing that, because I would lose so much other freedom that I have now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes it difficult to even enjoy the money.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Oh, it really does. And actually, going along money, that's another great topic too. A lot of people just focus on one kind of money, and that's earned income. But there are other types of income too that if you could focus on and actually get would drastically change your life. And that's, passive income and recurring income. A regular job is not going to give you any of those things, but if you can build a recurring revenue stream, that's going to sort of unlock what you can do in your life. So if whoever's listening out there, if you're able to create some sort of recurring revenue or passive income stream, do that. And I know that's hard because, most people focus on a job, but, a regular job is not going to give you that freedom at all. You're going to have to keep working at that job forever and ever and ever to keep making that money. You're never going to be able to build anything where you can stop that job, but keep the money coming in.
So what are some of the forms of passive income or recurring income that you would encourage people to do a deeper dive into? I know typically when we're looking at passive income, people hear that and just think they're not going to have to do anything, but it does take work, at least in the beginning, for sure. You have to.
I can give you insight as to sort of where our passive income comes from. So obviously that's from our rental property. We get money from that. And the other part comes from our business. So we have web hosting clients that pay us every month. We have this product called Smart Sites, sort of a low cost, but it's a monthly fee that we charge. Like I was telling you about, we have the Airbnb course. So those sales come in. We're starting the Web Designers Academy. So that's going to be recurring revenue for us as well. So I don't think that there's a one size fits all, because outside of what I know, I'm kind of useless. So I can't help you. But what do you know that you can package and sell to someone else? How can you take the knowledge from your head and put it into a PDF?
And I would add to that it might be something that to you is easy because you just know it, and you've, for years you've gained a lot of experience in that, and you take for granted, you forget that information that's so instinctive to you and intuitive to you is not for, some people have no idea what you're talking about and want to learn that. So if you can package it in a way where essentially you create a course that teaches people the information that they're looking for, you can make, passive income from that.
Yeah, because if you think about it, let's say it takes you 2 weeks to get whatever it is that you do, get it out of your head and get into, I'm using a PDF as an example because that's easy. Put it into a PDF that someone can buy and gain that knowledge. Let's say it takes you 2 weeks. Sure, you're not going to make any money in those 2 weeks, but you will have at least the opportunity to make money selling that over and over and over and over again for years, assuming the information is relevant. And that's something that I think is pretty powerful to sort of internalize that. Do something once and sell it over and over and over again. Because that hour that you worked at that job and got paid the X amount of dollars, whatever it is, you're not going to get paid for that hour ever again. You're getting paid for it once. So, but if you can change that equation, if you can take your skills, your knowledge, and package it so other people can buy it, then that time that you spent, you'll be paid for years. There we go.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And Brian often says for stuff that maybe he doesn't know how to do, around the house, I'll be like, oh, you can do it. And he's like, you know what? The time that it will take me to figure out, learn, and research how to do A, B, and C, we might as well pay the person, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I'd rather work and be able to pay that professional who knows what they're doing, then it's done the right way. So it's the same for, somebody who starts a business, right? Airbnb, somebody who doesn't want to take that time to, maybe do all the research and wants to just get it right off the hop. It's like, hey, I got some extra money because I worked, and now I can save my time and pay somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly.
Yeah. And, I was reading your bios, and I know that you're involved in security, I believe it was, and you're involved in sort of the social work. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know, how good you guys at your job. I'm assuming you're doing well. You have a nice place. But can you take your knowledge of security / social work, and can you package that and take your knowledge, get it out of your head, so that someone else who wants to be at your level can pay the $100 or $200 or whatever and gain that knowledge? Can you take what's in here and get it out
also
there?
How to start a podcast,
right?
That's something most people, like that information, like you guys have, started, at square one and built it. Like we would have no idea like what to do. And I'm sure there's lots of people who are interested in starting a podcast. And so, like package all of that and you could create a course.
Yeah. Because those are things that you guys know, and that you probably take for granted because it's so easy for you
at this point.
But you have to remember that other people aren't at that level. So let's say that you're up here. There's other people that are down here that want to get here, and you could help them. Meanwhile, you're building a stream of passive income or recurring income.
Yeah.
And it's interesting too when you were raising that point. It kind of made me think of that piece. Just the fact that when you're teaching something, if you're really good at it, and I found this just from training people in the past or being trained by people who are really good at their job, people have been doing it for a long time. You take so much for granted.
Oh, yeah.
Like I remember learning things and the person tells me how to do something. And when I try to do it, it doesn't work because they left out like 6 steps of the process when they're teaching. Right?
Yeah. And that's another thing, you don't have to be the best. And that's something that people, I think, is a mental roadblock for people. They're not the best at what they do. They don't have all the awards. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be better than the person that's buying your product.
Right.
Because you just want to get them to your level. That's what they're paying for. And that's value. But most people don't realize the value that they have is locked inside their head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that piece too, because I think I teach part-time as well at a couple of colleges. And there was when I was first getting started, there was I won't share who it was, but one of the profs had shared with me, sometimes you're only a couple hours ahead of the students.
Yeah. That's
very true. Absolutely. I was just going to say, because of the experience you've had, you've seen a lot. You've probably made some mistakes that you've learned from, and to be able to help other people avoid those mistakes, that's value that you could be tapping into. Like we were listening to one of your podcasts, Adrian Starks a few months ago.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking about learning from your mistakes, and absolutely learn from mistakes, but take that learning and turn it into something that other people can buy, so they don't have to go through the same pain that you went through.
Right.
That's incredibly valuable if you could do that.
Awesome. Well, for those who want to learn more, where are you online? Where can people connect with you? Where can people see where you're going next?
We're both on Instagram. My Instagram account is at Unleashing Amy.
Mine's at Ian Robert Anderson. And of course, you can check out my website, ianrobertanderson.com, or her website, unleashingamy.com. And like I said, we're check the Web Designers Academy. That's where we're going to be teaching people basically how to live like this, how to set up a business to do this. We also have the Airbnb negotiation course if you want to save a lot of money. Literally over the last 12 months, I've negotiated over $100,000 in savings.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now I haven't taken all those deals, but I've at least negotiated and I've got yeses. We'll give it to you for this amount. Add that up. It's $100,000. Yeah. So there's a lot of ways to find us online. We're not hard to find.
Great.
Thank you so much for taking the time today. We appreciate the insights. And I know we definitely learned a lot. So I'm assuming everyone who's been listening has learned a lot as well.
Hope so.
Great.
All right. Thank you so much for talking to me. It was nice talking to you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Disrupt the Everyday podcast. For more ways to listen, connect with us on social media. To be a guest or to partner with us, check out our link tree at Disrupt the Everyday. Join us next time for more ways to disrupt the everyday.